happen. Yeah, it might too. Like it when it does. Just when I go back, you think they'll have somebody else. Yes. Long time no see. There's a girl with the hair. Yeah, yes, ma'am. You look like you lost some weight. I have. That's a future. One's a little corner spot.
Get it while you can.
I know.
You can start either seated or laying down, whichever you like. Taking a few deeper breaths. Just start to settle yourself. Let your body sink into those points of contact with the floor, with your props. Taking a moment to focus on those places where you so often hold your tension. And specifically trying to relax those places as you're breathing out. So, we hold our tension in a lot of different places. Sometimes it's in our jaw, often it's in our neck or shoulders or back. Sometimes we hold it in our belly. Take a moment here, let those places soften, release any tension that might be there. So often, when it's a habitual space, we don't even realize that there's tension there. Letting it go as you breathe out. And then starting to slow the breath down a little bit more. Remember, we always want to keep our breath in a space where we're not forcing or creating extra tension or anxiety. So keep it easy, even though we're lengthening a little longer with the exhale and the inhale. I'm going to start moving through what's sometimes referred to as the rectangle breath. So we can imagine that we're drawing a rectangle as we're breathing here. The shorter sides of the rectangle are our inhales and the longer sides are the exhales. So typically you want to try and go twice as long for the exhales as the inhale. So your count could be 2 in and 4 out, then 2 in and then 4 out, or it could be 3 and 6. Find what's comfortable. Count for your inhale and then your longer exhale. You can imagine drawing a rectangle out in front of you, or you can imagine drawing it on your body. So you could inhale from hip to hip and then exhale from hip to shoulder, and then inhale shoulder to shoulder, and then exhale shoulder to hip. Nice and easy. This blessing wants you to remember the gift of surrender. It wants you to unclench your fists and soften your mind. It wants you to let go of your ceaseless, empty struggles in order to reclaim a cleaner breath and a deeper peace. This blessing wants you to let life be just as it is. It wants you to reshape your vision until you can see the gifts that arrive unbidden when we simply relax into what is without holding on to a single thing. Surrender calls us over and over to let go, to relinquish tight control over our lives, to settle in, perhaps sometimes even to sink. And it requires faith that despite the letting go, we are still held in the steady arms of life. This blessing wants you to remember the deep blue relief that comes when we accept life on its own terms, full and free. It urges you to walk across the threshold of acceptance and all the way home to contentment and true love. So today, let's see if we can let go of the ceaseless, empty struggles. We can find a place, a clearer breath, and a deeper peace, relinquishing tight control over what things should look like or feel like, to just be with what is. Do 5 more breaths, continuing to form those rectangles if you're still doing that. When you're finished, letting go of that, letting the breath return to normal, reconnecting with the body and noticing again if there's any place where you're holding tension. Check in with your face, your jaw, your tongue. Take a moment to let those places release, soften your throat. Maybe there's a little more softness left in those shoulders. And then when you're ready, we'll begin to return to the body, to physical movement if that feels good. Anything that helps you kind of return. There is absolutely no rush. Finding your way through whatever you need to do. If you chose to lay down for centering, eventually finding your way to sit, again, no rush, finding your way there when you're ready. When you arrive, take a moment to stack those shoulders and hips, soft gaze towards the floor or eyes closed. As you exhale, let the shoulders release a little more. Even see if we can let the muscles of the face slide downward. As you slide your awareness downward, all the way to the sits bones, just feeling the stability of your seat, your connection to the floor, the earth. On your next inhale, we'll take the arms out to the sides, palms facing up. Maybe out to a T if that's comfortable. They can be lower if it's not comfortable for your shoulders to be that high. Giving each other a little love with your hold each other's hands.
That's okay.
All right, let's inhale, take those arms up overhead. Palms are still facing each other. And then exhale, palms stay facing up as we bring the arms back down. Inhale back up. And you can keep the arms apart as you bring them up, or you can bring the hands together if that's comfortable. Imagining like this big ball of energy in between the hands, gathering it in and towards the hands, and then opening up as that energy spreads out and around us. Next exhale, we're going to turn those palms facing down, bring the fingertips to the floor or to blocks, depending on the length of your arms. Relax those shoulders. And then we're just going to start to roll the shoulders in one direction, circling. And then pause and circle in the other direction. And pause. Right fingertips stay down, left fingertips rise up. Exhale, let the shoulder relax a little. Next exhale, feel yourself sinking down into those points of contact. Inhale again, and then exhale, we'll come over to the right for a side bend. If that doesn't work for your shoulder, you can always bring the arm down. You could do a little bend in the arm. You could be really long there and really reaching those fingertips. Big deep breath in, feel that energy and breath moving up the side of the body, all the way to those fingertips. And then exhale, that energy moves back down, relaxing. Next inhale, we'll bring those fingertips back up. Exhale, those fingers come down to the floor. Take a couple of breaths here, feeling the fingertips and all the other points of contact, sinking down into them as you exhale. Our next inhale brings that right hand up, fingertips up towards the sky. Exhale, shoulder relaxes. Inhale again, and then exhale. Come on over to the left. Take that energy and breath up the side body from that hip all the way up through the side of the rib cage, through the armpit, through the arm to the fingertips, and then all the way back down as you start to release downward on that exhale. Inhale brings us up. Exhale, fingertips come back down. We're going to walk those fingertips around behind us, wherever it's comfortable. Just trying to open up that heart center a little bit, drawing the tips of the shoulder blades down and in towards each other. Deepening the breath up into that chest. Chin's neutral, or we can lift the chin if that feels okay. Releasing downward as you exhale. Few more breaths. And when you're finished, if you have the chin lifted, we'll bring it back to neutral. Start to unwind those shoulders. Bring the hands forward. We'll take the legs out long in front of us. Wiggle in those toes. Circle or point and flex. Cracking. And then we'll pause. We're going to bend the knees a bit. So we're going to start with the moving forward bend with the knees bent. And then if you want to switch to legs straight, you could do that. So we'll inhale, take the arms up. And then as you exhale, we'll fold over those legs. Bring the fingertips down to the floor. And then inhale, drag those fingertips along the floor and then all the way back up. As you exhale, fold it down. Keep those fingers along the floor as you inhale and all the way up. And then exhale. You're going to continue to move. You can keep the bend in the knees, or you can take those legs straight if you want to do a little bit more length in the calves and hamstrings. Do just a few more, and then we'll land in a forward bend, wherever that needs to be at the moment. It could be still knees bent, nice and soft. You could have the feet kind of soft with the legs straight. You could bring those toes in for a little more stretch in the backs of those legs. Settling in, surrendering. Next inhale brings us back up. And take the legs out wide. If that bothers your heels on the floor, you can always turn sideways so you can Get your heels on the mat. It's not going to be here too long. Ah, fingertips come back to the floor, or palms, depending on how long those arms are. And press up and away from the floor through the arms. Point and flex those feet. Lift up through the top of your head. So you've got length in that spine. We'll pause with the feet flexed, toes coming towards you. And a little taller through that spine. So there's probably some tension in your hips and your thighs right now. As you exhale, even while we hold these feet in, see if you can soften there a little more. And let go of some of that energy in the feet. So letting them become a little bit softer. We're going to bring the hands a little bit further behind us and start to open up that chest again, drawing those shoulder blades down, chins neutral or lifted. Thinking downward as you're exhaling, surrendering to gravity. Then we'll start to come back to that more neutral space. We'll inhale the arms up, and then as we exhale, we'll come around to the right for a twist, keeping that spine nice and long here. Exhaling, softening the shoulders, releasing into the twist. Next inhale brings us back to center, and then we'll come around to the other side. Same thing, trying to keep that spine long, relaxing through that belly a little, softening the shoulders. Letting go of tension in the face and the jaw. Next inhale brings us back up. As you exhale, we'll bring the fingertips down to the floor. Inhale again, and then as you exhale, we'll start to walk those fingertips forward. So you might not go far, all good. Landing wherever you do, surrendering to whatever shape your body is willing and able to take at the moment. Maybe you're super flexy in this position and you're heading down towards the floor with your belly or your heart. Surrendering to what is in this moment. We're going to take 5 breaths here. Nice, long, slow breaths as you're exhaling. Just see if it's possible to let the body shift into whatever shape, position it needs. Maybe it's telling you that you need to come up a little bit. Whenever you're finished with those breaths, we'll slowly find our way back up and then bring the feet together for Baddha Konasana. Slide those blocks under if you like. See where you're at today. Hold on somewhere. So it could be the ankles, the shins, the feet. Shoulders roll down and back. Top of the head lifts. As you exhale, let those shoulders relax. Let the legs relax. Maybe you feel that energy and breath rising up from the sits bones, from that point of contact all the way up to the top of the head. As you're exhaling, the breath travels back down as you let things release. Release the tongue from the roof of your mouth if it's there. You stay here if you like. Next option, moving incrementally into a forward bend. So the inhale would be length and the exhale would be sliding forward a little bit, finishing the exhale, staying, and then inhaling again in that space, exhaling, moving forward if there's more movement. So each inhale is length and space, each exhale is sinking, settling until you get to exactly the right amount of stretch. Breathing, being, softening, surrendering. 3 more breaths here. When you're ready, if you came down, we'll start to slowly make our way up. As you inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, come on down and around to the right for a twist. Notice if you started to create tension in those legs. Sometimes that's a product of bringing the arms up. We just kind of naturally bring everything else up. Exhale, soften downward. 3 more breaths. Next inhale brings us to center, and then we'll come around to the other side. Relax those shoulders, the legs, the hips. Check in with that jaw. 2 more breaths. And that next inhale brings us up the center. Right fingertips come down, left arm comes over for our side bend. Take that breath up the side body. Bring it back down. Check in with that upper shoulder. If it's bothering you, just bring the arm down. Bend that elbow. You can even bring the hand behind the neck or shoulders. Next inhale, that arm comes up. Exhale, fingertips come down to the floor. Inhale, the other arm comes up, and then exhale over other side. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, arms come around behind us. You can either interlace those hands and draw the knuckles away to open the chest, or you can bring the hands to the floor, walk the arms back, and open the chest that way. Maybe that belly starts to move forward a bit. Maybe the chest lifts, chin lifts, maybe not. You find a little softness in that heart center, the front and the back of the heart, in between the shoulder blades, front of the chest. And find her way back through to center. And keep the right leg where it is, left leg comes out long. Inhaling, the arms come up, exhaling, folding forward. Surrendering to gravity, letting that heart center melt. Maybe each exhale, there's just a tiny bit more forward and downward movement. Maybe you're right where you need to be. And next inhale brings us up. We're going to take that left leg out wide. Fingertips come to the floor in front of us. We'll start to walk those fingertips forward. Go slow so you can pay attention. Maybe stop and stay for a few breaths and then see if there's a little bit more. Maybe you're getting to the point where you can bring the forearms down. Maybe you're way up high. Not a judgment, it's just a noticing, rendering to where your body is at this moment. Next inhale brings us back up. We're going to slide that straight leg back to center. Bring the other leg out. Coming back to a forward bend with both legs extended, whatever forward bend you like here. So it could be those knees could be bent, the legs could be straight, toes can come back, the feet can be soft. Do 3 more breaths. When you're done, the inhale takes us up. Left knee bends, left foot comes towards the thigh. Inhale those arms up and exhale, come on down. Or bend, surrendering. Next inhale brings us up. The straight leg comes out to the sides. Nice and tall, and then start to walk those fingertips forward. Seeing where you need to land here, noticing where you feel the stretch. Oftentimes, when we begin to feel stress or stretch in the body, we kind of almost automatically start to tighten up around it. Maybe pay attention to those places and soften. Two more breaths. When you're done, we'll find our way back up. Slide that leg back in. Both legs extend again. And forward bend. Next inhale brings us up. We'll bring the feet to the floor, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. And let's take those knees side to side. And we'll stop on one side, settle in, move the legs if you need to. You could adjust the arms if you want to go deeper. You can bring the arms back a little bit and bring that belly and chest up and forward. If you did that, let that chest and belly come back down to a more neutral place. Walk those hands back in a bit. And then we'll take those knees up and over. Pause if you walk the hands back on the other side, giving it a try here. The belly up. Just notice if you look up at the wall and see the bell and the butterfly moving in the wind. All right, come on. All right, let's head around to table pose. Surrendering to what the body needs right now here. You might stay in table pose and find some movement. You might find your way into downward facing dog or child's pose. Letting the body lead the way here. Maybe you need movement. Maybe your body's craving stillness right now. Just 6 more breaths. When you're finished with those 6 breaths, we'll meet back at table pose. Do a little forward and back movement here. So you might need to move the hands forward just a little bit from your usual table spot. And we'll start to move forward just a bit. And then exhale. We'll sit back towards those heels. Inhale, moving back up. And then coming back through. Moving forward. If you like, you can bring those hips down towards the floor when you come forward, if that feels okay. If not, who's got the creaky part? Is it you, Greg? It's not your fault. I'm like, oh, somebody got the creaky part of the floor. There's several parts of the floor that creak. Uh, Just adds a little ambiance. Few more. I'm just happy it's not somebody's bones. And then we'll pause in the place that feels good. So if you want to pause in the forward position, you can pause there. If you want to pause in the sitting back position, we'll stay there. Rendering downward through whatever is coming into contact with the floor. And then let's find our way through to table. if you're not there. Heading into thread the needle here. We're going to take that right arm out or up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, we'll slide that through underneath the opposite arm, coming down to forearm or to shoulder. If your shoulder doesn't quite make it, grab a blanket or a block and slide that under there. Surrender. Relax that belly, relax that face. When we grimace or frown or tense the face, it sends a message to the rest of our body and to our brain. When we soften it, maybe even a little tiny smile, it sends a message to our body and our brain that all is well. 3 more deep breaths. When you're finished with that last deep breath, your next inhale brings that bottom arm back out. You can go right to table or you can go out shoulder height or up towards the ceiling for a few breaths. Eventually, we'll all meet at table, move through a few cat cows. And then back to neutral with the spine, and we'll head to the other side with our thread the needle. So left arm's coming out or up, and then we'll slide that through, settling in to your thread the needle. Softening the front and the back of that heart center again, rendering to this position of the body. 3 more slightly deeper breaths. When you're finished, we'll slide that bottom arm out, come into the position you took on the other side, either table, arm out, or up for a few breaths. And then we'll find our way back through to table if you're not there. You cat cow. And then pause back at neutral spine, coming down onto the forearms. We're going to keep the right arm where it is and then start to walk those left fingertips out and away from you. Maybe sinking down a little bit through the heart center. If that's way too much on your shoulder, you might walk that hand back in a little bit so there's not as much tension there. And if you like, you can take the right foot back behind you, toes tucked, lengthening that leg. If that doesn't work, then bring it back in. Okay, that knee's coming back in if you took it out. And we'll bring that left hand in, that forearm comes down. Start to reach the other fingertips out, stretching out that arm and shoulder. And if you brought the leg back, this time it's the left. Knee comes back in if it's out. And we'll start to bring the arm back through to that forearm position. Let's do a few cat cows here. Feels a little different with the arms in this position. And then pausing back at neutral. So we're going to come into a space of surrender here. So it could be child's pose. It could be puppy. So if you want to do puppy, you keep the legs where they are. Instead of taking one arm out at a time, you take both arms out and sink the heart down. Or it could be downward facing dog if that's a place where you can surrender. Letting the front of the body sink down. All these downward facing postures are a gesture of introspection, of humility, of surrender, of softness, connection. A few more breaths. When you're ready, we'll head towards a standing forward bend. Getting there however you like. If ragdoll's in your practice and you can kind of just hang there with the head long and loose, the arms long and loose, a lovely way to surrender in our practice. But if that doesn't work for your back, you can find a different forward bend that feels better. Every exhale, surrendering the top part of the body downward. Do you need movement there? Do you need stillness? Let's do 5 more breaths. When you're finished with those 5 breaths, we'll head up to standing, however you'd like to get there. When you get all the way up, eyes closed or soft gaze downward, shoulders relax all the way down. Feel yourself sinking into those feet, letting the muscles of your face slide downward. Opening the eyes. We're going to take the legs a little bit wider, almost out to the edges of your mat if that's comfortable for you. Inhale here and then exhale. Hinge at those hips, fold forward. Come about halfway. Stay there for a few breaths. Feel the movement of the belly as you breathe. And as you exhale, if there's more folding forward coming through that, you can rest the hands on blocks if they don't get to the floor. You could rest them somewhere on the legs, or you can go to the floor. Exhale, see if you can soften a little bit more downward. Release any tension in the face. Next inhale, we'll come back to that halfway point. Pause, take a few breaths there. And when you're ready, an inhale takes you all the way back. Bring those feet back towards each other. We're going to cross the right leg in front of the left. So, it really depends. For some people, getting the feet close together and in line isn't in the cards. Sometimes they need to be a little farther apart. Sometimes they're forward a little bit. Inhale there and then exhale. We're going to fold to that halfway point. So it might change things. You might love to have blocks here. Breathing in and out, feeling that belly move. Then your next exhale, if there's any movement forward, rolling down. Make your way back through to that halfway point, taking a few breaths. And then the next inhale brings you all the way up. We're taking the arms up overhead as we come up. And then left arm comes down, right arm comes over. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale, arms come down. We're going to cross the other way. Get your stability. Shoulders relaxed, nice and tall. Inhale and then exhale. Start to fold forward to that halfway point. Feel the belly breath. Next exhale, if there's any more movement downward to that. Next inhale brings you back to halfway. Few breaths. Next inhale, we'll start to lift all the way up. Arms come up as we come up. Exhale, right arm down, left arm over. And that's in. Come on back up. Release those arms, uncross. We're going to end up in a lunge in a moment with the knee down. So if you like something for under your knee, go ahead and grab that. Make sure you have it either close to or on your mat. Inhale, take those arms up. Exhale, that right arm comes down, the left arm's coming over. Inhale, back up, and then over to the other side. Inhale up, exhale to that halfway point. Take a few breaths there. Next exhale brings you down to forward bend. We'll bend those knees so we can get the hands to the floor. The right foot is coming back and the right knee comes down. Blocks are great here so we can get that spine nice and long. So you can stay kind of parallel with that shin. You could scooch that front foot forward a little bit and then sink the hips if you like. Spine nice and long. Think about reaching from the tailbone all the way up through the top of the head. If you like, as you exhale, we'll see about sinking those hips a little bit further. Shoulders relax a little bit. Stay here if you like, or we can bring those arms around behind us. Interlace in that heart is neutral or lifted. You lifted the chin. We'll come back through, hands come back around to the front. We're going to straighten that front leg and then bend it a few times. And then let's pause with that leg straight or straight-ish, depending. You might walk those blocks back if you're using them. So you can just stay right there. Next option would be to slide that right hip back as you slide that left foot forward or left hip forward a little bit. Next option, if you like, is to come up onto the heel of that front foot. If none of it's working, then let it go. Surrender to what is. Are you creating extra tension in that left leg? Can you stop and let it just be? There's plenty of tension there. You don't need to add more. Few deep breaths. When you're ready, start to bend that front knee again. If you've got blocks, we'll set them off to the side. Bring those hands down. You're going to tuck the back toes, lift that back knee, and then see if you can step that back foot forward. Do what you got to do. Might be a few hops. You never know. All right, we're going to take the other leg back. That knee comes down, settling into our lunge on this side. So staying parallel or scooching forward with that front foot, sinking the hips nice and long through that spine. Shoulders rolling down and back. If you brought the arms around behind you on the other side, we'll head there. And if you took that a little deeper, opening the heart, lifting the chin, finding that stretch. And comes down. If you lifted it, arms come back around. Straightening that front leg. And then the movement, bending and unbending that front knee. Next time that front leg is straight, we'll pause. And taking any variations you did on the other side. This time, if you moved the hips, the right hip comes back a little bit as the left hip comes forward just a bit. And if you came up onto the heel, finding your way there. Trying to release some of the tension that you might be causing in addition to what's already happening. That's a metaphor for life, huh? It's already enough. We don't need to add more. A couple more. And then we'll start to straighten that or bend that knee, sorry. Blocks come back. Tuck the back toes, lift that back knee. See what you got to do to get that front foot forward. Few breaths in that forward bend. And then we're going to step it back to table or downward facing dog. plank pose if that's in your practice, or it could even be child's pose. Start melting downward, surrendering to the shape you've chosen. Then we'll slide it down to the belly, coming into whatever position feels good here. So it could be cobra, hands underneath those shoulders, could be sphinx pose with the elbows under the shoulders. It could be crocodile with the arms crossed and the head resting on the arms. What position would feel good for you right now? Surrendering to gravity. So letting whatever parts of the body are touching the floor kind of surrender downward. And then when you're ready, we'll find our way back up and around to sit. And then we'll get ready to head down to the back. So if you want to get socks or anything for Shavasana or sweater, go ahead and grab what you might need. When you arrive on your back, we'll bring the feet to the floor with the knees up and take those knees side to side. Finding your way into a twist on one side, whatever that needs to be. So it might be in that same position that your legs are in now, or you might opt to shift that position a bit. Let that twist be about surrender, finding your way into that place that allows your body to take the shape it needs without force. And also letting your body inform how long you end up staying there. Finding your way to the other side when your body's ready for that. Finding your way out when you're ready. And then is there something else you have left to do? Take time to do whatever it might be as you eventually find your way to Shavasana. Might want to get those legs up. We didn't get there today. Maybe you bring those feet up towards the ceiling or head into a happy baby, even an upward facing Baddha Konasana. Just to reverse and surrender. finding that space that's comfortable, that allows your body to surrender. That might mean that you need some props. It might mean that your feet are on the floor and your knees are up instead of completely supine. Lay down your arms here. Surrender the heavy shield of holding on. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears. The jaw unhinge its iron grip. Here, you're not required to fix, to analyze, or to understand. You are simply to be. Let your breath be unmanaged. Let your thoughts wander without invitation or judgment, like clouds passing over a still, deep lake. Rest in this silence, in the stillness, surrender. Lie on your back. Eyelids slip down, mouth soft. Body letting go, breath by breath, surrendering to this moment. Surrender. Is it possible to surrender more? To let the face soften, release any tension in your jaw, your throat, your neck, to feel your head softly release downward. Every breath out, an opportunity for the body, the mind, surrender. No tension, no holding, trying, no doing, just being. The next 7 breaths, we're going to return to the rectangle breathing, superimposing that rectangle on the body, inhaling from hip to hip, exhaling hip to shoulder, inhaling shoulder to shoulder. Exhaling shoulder to hip. 6 more times. Longer inhales. When you're finished with those rectangles, just letting the breath return to normal. Making your way back through to the body when you're ready. And if you're not ready yet, continuing to be still. As always, you're welcome to stay right where you are if you like to close your practice in this space. If you prefer to sit, then finding your way through whatever movement you might need as you arrive. You opt for seated, shoulders over those hips, top of the head over the tailbone, exhaling downward. Ending where we began today with the poem Surrender by Claudia Cummins. This blessing wants you to remember the gift of surrender. It wants you to unclench your fists and soften your mind. It wants you to let go of your ceaseless, empty struggles in order to reclaim a cleaner breath and a deeper peace. This blessing wants you to let life be just as it is. It wants you to reshape your vision until you can see the gifts that arrive unbidden when we simply relax into what is without holding on to a single thing. Surrender calls us over and over to let go, to relinquish tight control over our lives, to settle in, perhaps sometimes even to sink. And it requires faith that, despite the letting go, we are still held in the steady arms of life. This blessing wants you to remember the deep blue relief that comes when we accept life on its own terms, full and free. It urges you to walk across the threshold of acceptance and all the way home to contentment and love. Your next inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. As you exhale, releasing the arms. Inhale, arms rise again. Exhale, hands come together to the heart. Inhaling again and exhale, bowing forward, honoring yourself, each other, this practice, the peace that comes from surrendering. Shanti, 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 peace. May there be peace in your hearts, peace in your lives, and may there be peace in this world. Gently rising. Namaste. Thank you for spending your morning with me. Hmm.